Computerized Start is brought to you by my awesome patrons on Patreon, and by your tips and memberships on Ko-fi. These and other channel supporters make my live streams possible. You too can become a channel supporter with tiers starting at just $1. And as always, thank you for all your support, including sharing, chatting, liking, and subscribing. Now roll that famous logo animation. Hold on. Alright, good evening, and I'm on the wrong microphone. Hold, please. Good evening, and welcome back to Computerized Start Live. I'm your host, Justin D. Morgan, and I really don't like it when OBS decides to go, well, I don't remember which microphone you were using. So there we go. I should be on the correct microphone now. Yes, I noticed something was amiss when I had no audio levels on my Yeti microphone, and the only thing picking up was my webcam, which always stays muted because it's got a horrible mic. Come on, Razer, you can do better. Gamers deserve better microphones too. So, anyways, all right, now that OBS is using the correct microphone, and we have Roar inflated, and I'm not fighting some 24 to 48 hour stomach bug, and I've had this thing sitting upstairs for a week, which we'll get to that in a moment. Yes, I am alive tonight. I am alive. Remember, I am searching for jobs, so I'm down to one stream a week, and I was sick the nights last week I could stream. Luckily, I got better in time for being invited to dinner over at a neighbor's Thursday. I had my first ever AI interview Friday. No, that was not me interviewing for an AI job. That was me being interviewed by AI. That was interesting. Also got to take a skills assessment, which I think would have been more aptly described as a behavioral assessment. But I guess if they call it a behavioral assessment, they're going to scare all their candidates away. So they call it a skills assessment. Anyways, let's see here who we have in the chat. Stan says, AI interview sounds unsettling. I don't think I'd want that job. I will take that into consideration should a human actually decide to interview me. I don't know. Anyways, let's see here who we have in the chat. We have Hardware Hacker. Hi, Hardware Hacker. We have CMD Big Mike. Hi, Big Mike. Yes, I am feeling much better. Don't know exactly what I had, but it started like Sunday afternoon and went through about Tuesday morning, but I was completely wiped out Tuesday, so there was no streaming Tuesday night. And then just couldn't squeeze in a stream last week. But anyways, I am doing better. I am definitely eating normal now, so yay for that. We have Thomas Armstrong. Hi, Thomas. We have Gut Bomb Industries, aka Jason. Hi, Jason. We have, let's see here. Yes, it's 5150 time. That is indeed. We have I8386. Hi, Jesse. We have Mike's Future Retro. Hi, Mike. Let's see here. Let's see here. I didn't realize David canceled his stream yesterday because I was not available yesterday afternoon. Mike's Future Retro says, hey, Justin, I went on a drunken eBay and Goodwill excursion. $238 later. Oof. That sounds like an eBay regret. Let's see here. Oh yeah, I had to. I was kind of late because I get downstairs and my streaming computer is running at a crawl. I had to restart it. I don't even have Discord running. It was running at a crawl. Although I have a feeling if I look, Discord has decided to set itself to auto start again. We have SadMac356. Hi, SadMac. We have, let's see, Mega. Hi, Mega. We have, let's see here, anyone else that's joined? We have SJ Brian EXE. Hi, SJ. We have... Someone says if they called it a behavioral assessment, it sounds like a nightmare. Yes. Stian's asking, what is your streaming computer? Currently, I am still streaming from an HP Z440 workstation running Windows 10. I have the Windows 10 extended support. This computer should have decent specs. Let's see, what processor did I put in it? Trying to go to the About screen so I can tell you what processor's in it. It has the Intel Xeon E5 1660 V4, 64 gigabytes of RAM. It's got an NVIDIA GeForce GTX 1660 Super, and I do have a 1 terabyte SSD. The RAM and the SSD I bought before the Rampocalypse. The video card was a gracious donation from Starbuck. The name has escaped me. Yeah, it doesn't sound like it should be crawling, but yet it was crawling when I got downstairs. I do have the parts to build a new streaming computer, and maybe it's just about time. And I ordered a power supplies because I needed 2 new power supplies to build the 2 newish computers. I decided to buy new power supplies for various reasons. But anyways, yeah, it shouldn't be crawling. It is crawling. Whatever. All right, we do have the coffee goal. Link is in the video description. I see the food chat in the chat, and it's going to make me hungry. So I'm not going to talk about it, or I will get hungry and have to go eat a snack. And that would be bad for me late at night. But also, other things that can be bad for me, and other people, is the following. Is the following.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for our favorite segment, Wheel of Regrets. Here's your host, Justin D. Morgan.
Hey, who comes up with these titles anyway?
Yes, so we do have 2 potential regrets tonight. Courtesy of I got a few things cheap. This first item comes to us from the very large state of Vermont. So hi to all my eBay sellers and viewers in Vermont. It looks like a birthday party in an envelope. Either this is the eBay item one of the 2 eBay items I bought, or I have received someone's birthday gift by accident. So it's got a layer of bubble wrap around it to protect it inside of the bubble envelope, and we have a floppy disk controller card. We might just have to test this if there's no tantalum caps on it. No, I do not see any tantalum caps on it. We might test this. So this, I believe, is one of those floppy controller cards for an XT PC class computer that allows you to use high-density drives, because there's the ROM, and there's the configuration jumpers. There we go. Very cool. And it did not come in an anti-static bag. Stian says, I got a regret in the mail. A sound blaster with a capacitor torn clear off and wrapped in clear bubble wrap, along with a note telling me it's wrapped in an anti-static bag that was not in evidence. These are not the anti-static bags you were looking for. Yeah. I would see right through a note like that. Alright, so we may try to test that later tonight. The other item comes to us from an eBay seller in Wisconsin. So, hi to all my eBay sellers and viewers in Wisconsin. I will disclaim this is a reused box. Because I'm also going to point out that someone circled the dimensions on the bottom of the box. And I'm going to use this opportunity as a public service announcement that the dimensions on the bottom of a shipping box are the internal dimensions. They are always the internal dimensions, if they're marked like that. So you will want to measure the box if you are shipping it and it needs dimensional weight. So I have run across some boxes. Hi, Jesse, welcome. I have run across some boxes that also have the outer dimension marked on them. And it will be clearly marked as the OD for outer dimension. But if you have a shipping box and it has one dimension on it, it will always be the internal dimension. So if you use that dimension for a shipping service that needs the dimensions because they are going to charge you dimensional weight, like the Postal Service, there is such a technology now where they can weigh and measure the box while it rides along the conveyor belt, and they will charge you the extra postage should they think you've messed up on weighing and dimensioning the box. So, just a public service announcement. I do know if you use like a priority mail box that you get from the Postal Service, those boxes have both the internal and the outer dimensions on them. So you can use the outer dimension on that box. As long as you've not like overfilled the box, then you can use those dimensions and you're probably fine. I still would recommend measuring the box just to double check. Yeah. Yeah, the reason they mark it like that is so when you're trying to find a box to fit an item that you need to put in the box, then, yeah, then you'll know that the box is big enough for your item. At least that's the way it's been explained to me. So, this item here comes to us fairly well packaged. I think. All right. I have another layer. And we have yet another layer, although I think at this point you probably know what it is. It's a VIC-20. No, just kidding. Yeah, also, I would recommend if you're shipping something to, use pirate ship. Carter Hacker says I was going to say, yeah. Somewhere like pirate ship. I believe if you're an eBay shipper, I've had some people tell me that pirate ship is cheaper than eBay shipping, but I've also had some people say that they are the same, so it would pay to like double check. You can use your own postage labels on eBay. Just make sure you upload the tracking number. I think for pirate ship, it may be the same price for USPS on eBay and pirate ship, because I think they both have an agreement with post office. Jesse says for international shipments, it's the same. Now, pirate ship may very well be cheaper for UPS and than eBay, because I think pirate ship has an agreement with UPS. I'm not sure eBay has as good of an agreement, but anyways, we have a floppy drive, and if I did my research correctly, this should actually be a high-density floppy drive. So it's a Mitsubishi MF504B-312U. Looks like it came out of an AT because of the rails on it. I want to say it's a 1.2 megabyte drive. So we'll have to test it later. Oh, I think you also need to put a disk in it for it to stay latched or something like that. All right, let's test that, because I usually test the latch when I get them, and it's not latching when I latch it. So let me. I'm gonna put a cleaning disk in it. Oh. No. There is a mechanical problem with the drive, so there will be a repair stream soon. All right. Yeah, it's not staying latched. So there we go. Oh, if you latch it without a disk, you're banging the read-write heads together. That's no bueno. Yeah. All right. We will free drive rail. Hard hacker says free drive rails. I'll take it. Yep. We will yeah, we'll have to look at this at some point, because it's, even with the disk in it, it's not staying latched. I don't see the immediate fault. All right, well, we'll put it in the we'll put it in the repair pile. So already a regret, yes. All right. So let's get to the IBM PC. So when we left off last time, I had recapped this floppy drive. This was the B drive in the system. It did. So I would remember this was the B drive. I took the Terminator we borrowed off the A drive. So let's go ahead and put the Terminator back on this drive. Because I think for the PC, you really need to have the Terminator in place, or you're going to have problems. I know with later systems and newer controller cards, I think you can pretty much get away without the Terminator. Because I'm not sure that, like, newer drives even have terminating resistors. Or, like, I don't know. So anyways, we will so I've got the hard card in. Last time I had it set to the side because it's kind of a pain to use it when it's not in the case. but I brought it out because I wanted to be able to run Check It, and I wanted to be able to run a cleaning disk. Also brought my cleaning disks downstairs. Even though I cleaned the drive heads with a cotton swab or Q-tip or with something, I wanted to actually use a cleaning disk just to make sure the heads were clean. And oh, hi, we have Runs with Chainsaw. Welcome. Looks like I stumbled into the right live stream, just bought an XT that is missing a card and the hard drive and have no idea what to do with it. All right, yes. So this is an IBM PC, but oh, there we go. We are already to the C drive. The hard card that is in this computer is, I mean, I didn't even see the thing start to boot DOS. But yeah, even though this is an IBM PC, the differences between the PC and the XT really are, the PC has 5 slots, the XT has 8 slots, although slot number 8 is special in the XT. Yeah, this is a new enough PC that that's really the only difference. Also, I think the BIOS is not as sophisticated. I think the XT, there's more code in it, so the BIOS is a bit more sophisticated. You noticed you didn't see a RAM count, because the PC BIOS didn't have a RAM count, but the XT one does. But speed-wise, they're the same speed. In fact, this is a new enough board that it has the same amount of RAM on board that the XT does. So, really, yeah, anything I can do on this PC, you can do on an XT. So, the first thing I wanted to do was run the cleaning disk here a time or two. And I think the way I usually do that is if I'm using a grease weasel to image disks and I need to clean the disk, then the grease weasel actually has a disk cleaning option. Oh, I'm leaning on the keyboard. So I'll do that, but for... Oops. What did I just do? Hold on. I think my RGB to HDMI just spazzed out. Hold, please. That's weird. Alright, good night, hardware hacker. And thank you. Alright, so let's see here. What did my... That's weird. Alright, well, let me unplug it. Might have to go find another power adapter for it, because... Oh, there we go. Oh, there we go. We're back. I have no idea what the RGB to HDMI did. It just, like, acted like it lost power. Hey, Jack68K, welcome! Alright, so I am going to run a cleaning disk through this floppy drive that we recapped last week. I'm just putting some isopropyl alcohol on the cleaning disk. Alright, and I think to... And basically, I'm just going to try to go to the A drive, and I'm going to retry it a couple times. And then we will abort it because... Oh, wait. No, I think we have to fail it. Oh, yeah. We got to fail it and then go back to the C drive. There we go. All right. And now we're IBM like it's 1982. Yes. Stian says, for Wheel of Regrets, the Stian summary of Wheel of Regrets is we have a floppy controller and a floppy drive, the latter of which turned out to be a regret. Yes. And now we are IBMing like it's 1982. All right, we just cleaned the heads of this first floppy drive that we recapped last week. Basically, there's tantalum caps on these IBM floppy drives that are horrible because IBM, well, or Tandon used 16-volt caps where they probably should have used 25-volt caps. So... Alright, so I am going to use the... Oh, wait. No, I'm not going to use the check it disk. Hold on. I'm trying to find the... There's a floppy disk I just about always use for check it disk tests. I believe that one's it right there. Alright. We will recap the other drive here as soon as we test this one. Alright, so now let's Alright, so we're going to use check it here. And now that the floppy drive heads probably have had a chance to dry, let me see, where's the arrow keys? That's right, the arrow keys are on the numeric keypad. Alright, tests, floppy disk, drive 0. Alright, insert a disk in drive A. Is a disk inserted? Yes. Oh, there's an error reading the disk. Oh, is this disk not formatted? Hold on. Oh, with the special disk from Touchstone Software. Ha, I don't have that disk. Alright, let's return to DOS. Format A colon. Oh, the drive is not ready. Not ready. Okay, so if I go to A drive, I see it accessing the drive. Jesse says not ready describes how I feel about the next 5 weekends. Not ready reading drive A. Alright, let's fail that. C colon. Alright, so let me check the floppy drive here. So 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So I believe I've got the cables reconnected to the correct place. I've got the resistor and the terminator in place. The heads are connected back to where they were. Ian says, I guess 25-volt capacitors also have more longevity. I mean, none of these circuits should see 16 volts, so I can see why IBM's hardware engineers thought 16 volts was sufficient. Oh, it actually has to do with the fact they were 16-volt tantalum capacitors, and normally you need to derate solid tantalum capacitors 50% if you want them to last, because solid tantalum capacitors are rated at their peak voltage. So if you put a 12-volt solid tantalum capacitor on a 12-volt rail, and that 12-volt rail, say, spikes during power up because it's an older design power supply, for example, it takes it a few milliseconds to come into regulation, you just exceeded the capacity of the tantalum cap. And I think that's exactly why the 16-volt ones aren't as reliable, is because when you first turn on the IBM, it like spikes the 12-volt voltage rail while it comes into regulation. So I go to 25 volts to give it a little more headroom for that voltage spike when you power it up. All right, so I have power cycled because I wanted to, while I was looking at the drive, I didn't want to look at it while it was possibly trying to do something. And now I am, now that I've got the drive on its side so I can look at it, well, we're going to, oh yeah, Jesse says, 2 trips to Chicago, one of them for VCF Midwest, which I haven't even started prepping for. Then there's weekend number 4, which is my return to streaming. It requires some unconventional prep work. All right, so let's see if I want to see what this drive does when I try to access this. So the floppy drive, the spindle is spinning. And it's not ready. Let me reboot and I want to see what it does when it seeks the floppy drive. Well, I mean, it seemed to seek the floppy drive. Let me try one more time. I don't have room to show you what the floppy drive's doing. The power lead's not long enough. Oh, Jesse says, I'm moving out of my current place, which adds to the chaos. Yes. All right. I may have to do some web searching. All right, so we go to the A drive now. Oh. Oh, let me share my screen. All right, so we're going to try this again. Not ready. Not ready. All right. Let me do a quick web search here. See if I can figure out what that means. My Firefox has been updated. Wonderful. All right, so let's see. IBM PC. Not ready. Oh, well, I guess we won't. Oh, I found a. Nope. VCF forums post, but that doesn't have text not ready on it. Hmm. Oh, here's something from the European Society for Computer Preservation. For the Tandem TM102A. Oh, that's the same drive I have. All right, visual check. All right, I think I've done, yep. Another problem that occurs on widely used units is the breaking of the upper head. Which I'm fairly sure if it was doing that, I would have seen evidence on the disk that I put in, which, no. Not seeing any evidence the head is, like, physically broken. That would scratch the disk. So, alright, so talking about lubrication. Okay, I don't think that's... I don't think that's the problem. All right, I lubricated it. Alignment. Well, I'm not even getting there. But that document does not say anything about the DOS error not ready. That's not the same error. Drive not ready. Oh, here we go. That might tell me what causes drive not ready. All right. Drive not ready. All right. Someone says it's likely that the start of track signal, which is generated when the index hole of the floppy disk passes the sensor, is not sent from the drive to the controller. Could be due to a bad contact somewhere, a broken LED in the drive, a piece of debris stuck in the index hole in the floppy, etc. When reading, the signal is ignored, but it is essential for formatting. All right, detailed wording. Hi, CDI, welcome. All right. So I think the not ready error means we got an error, a timeout from the interrupt 13 hex routine, which occurs when the wait for interrupt BIOS routine doesn't detect an interrupt within 2 seconds. Missing track 0 signal. Okay. Try another floppy. Yeah. Well, let me first check that this floppy actually has a... Oh, wait. That's a single-sided double density... Oh, well, that might be part of the problem. I just realized that was a single-sided floppy disk. That might cause a problem. This is a double-sided floppy drive. That disk may not have an index hole. All right, how about, since I don't need to reinstall, check it. We already have it installed. And I know the disk is good. Let's try. I see that the spindle starts spinning, Stian. And then it tells me it's not ready. So it's like it. All right, I got another floppy disk. This is actually the check it install disk 1. Which, since I have a backup of it, I can format this without actually. Let's see if we even can, let's see if we can even just read it. Interesting. Yeah, that should be a readable disk. I mean, it should have been backwards compatible with the single-sided. I might have received errors trying to format it because single-sided disks weren't necessarily good on both sides. Um, okay, that did not work. So I've cleaned the heads. I lubricated the drive last time. All right, let's power this off. Something is amiss here. I'm actually wondering if it's the analog board. All right, let's try this. So I'm going to I'm going to put a head cleaning disc in the drive just while I turn this up right here. So so I'm going to take these two connectors off and deoxit them and put them back on. Now the thing is, I don't know if this floppy drive was good when I started because it was so dirty that there was no testing it. Well, that and its sibling actually blew a temper tantalum. All right, so I'm going to remove one connector. Well, that actually looks pretty good. I don't see any corrosion on those pins. But all right, so we'll put a little deoxit there. Okay, there we go. So there was that. Did I clean the? Let me try cleaning the edge connector again, which I realize is off screen. Make sure I cleaned it. I sure thought I did. Actually, that edge connector was a bit dirtier than I expected, so maybe I did forget to clean it. All right. So there we go. There's that. And let's guess I'll put a little of this deoxit in the ribbon cable. let me kind of clean up the slight excess off the connector. All right. Let's see if that does anything now that so I did put deoxit on these connectors and the head connectors, but I now have cleaned the connectors on the analog board and the edge connector. So let's see if that did anything. If that doesn't fix it, I may have to try to remember where I put my little oscilloscope. Oh, there it is. Sitting right beside me. And we might have to... I might have to see if I can find like a service guide or something for these drives. Alright. Actually, alright, so let's see here. If I put the check it floppy disk back in, is that it? Well, apparently one of the edge connectors was dirty. Why, look at that. Folks, deoxit that socket. Alright, so let's format this disk. Oh, yeah, proceed with the format. I can rewrite the check it disk, so we will... Alright, so that goes to show that there is some truth to deoxit that socket. I don't know if it was the edge connector or if it was maybe the connector on the analog board. Something had some corrosion on it, and that was enough to interfere with one of the signals from the floppy drive. Either that or I restarted the computer enough times that the stepper motor has ungummed itself. One of the two. Probably one of the edge connectors was dirty. Quite possibly the edge connector. I might have forgotten to clean it. Alright. So now if we go to floppy disk test. Oh, yep. We can use this disk. Oh, that's not good. Cylinder 0, head 1, read error. Okay, I am not exactly sure. I think we might have an unhappy, I think it's head 1. I think head 1 is unhappy. Yeah, head 1 is very unhappy. Ian says, not sure why it matters, but I really enjoy these old ASCII line art user interfaces. Alright, so head 1 is the top head. It does appear as if it is, like, not writing at all. Interestingly enough, it was reading on head 1 until it got to cylinder 0 during the random read test. And then it, like, started failing. Yeah, I have another double-sided floppy I can try. Let's look at the log here. Alright, so cylinder 0, head 1, we had a read error. And then cylinders 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, and 39 all had write errors. Interestingly enough, cylinder 0 did not have a write error, but it had a read error. Yeah, that's a lot of ahs from the count. Unfortunately, Sesame Street would have had to have probably abandoned that counting exercise because I think they generally stick to smaller numbers. Oh, cylinder 0 did have a write error. Okay. Okay, there's nothing about this floppy disk that tells me that the floppy disk looks good. This floppy disk came from a new old stock box of disks that looked like it had been stored properly, and I don't see any signs of damage to the disk. Alright. We'll put another disk in. Floppy disk, drive 0. Alright, it detected the disk, so I'll let it write. Okay, looks like we're doing the random read. Now, I do believe, if I remember my floppy drive mechanics correctly, there is the read and the write are done with actually separate coils in the head. Oh, yeah. Okay, I don't think we need to go through that. I think it's safe to say that, head one is... Something's up with head one. Okay, let's try this. I doubt this will fix it. I'm going to put the cleaning floppy disk in for one more pass, just in case there's like some sort of contamination on the top head. Okay, floppy disk. Contamination or alignment, yeah. Or something dumber like a bad coil. Unfortunately, considering it seems like it reads but does not write, I'm probably going to have to lean towards it is probably a bad coil, which that I could probably confirm with a multimeter if I can figure out which is which. Okay. All right. While we wait for that to dry, there were two things I wanted to do. The first is I was going to make sure there wasn't like some chip running abnormally hot on this floppy drive because maybe the chip is bad. I mean, there's a couple resistors that are running a little toasty, but nothing that says about 57 degrees Celsius max. Nothing that's like running so hot that it looks like okay, yeah, I don't think there's anything running too terribly hot. Can I compare head 0 and head 1 current curves while attempting to write? I'm going to probably have to say no there. I don't think I have a multimeter or a meter that is... I mean, I can see... Well, we can pull the oscilloscope out, but I need to figure out where... I need to find a service guide for the floppy drive. Because I don't know what pins are what. TM102. Operating and service manual. TM101 and 2 disk drives, 48 tracks per inch. Tandon Corporation. Oh, this looks like it might be it. All right. Oh, here we go. Section 4, Troubleshooting Guide. Awesome. All right. Let's see what the troubleshooting guide says. You know, this was from that era of computing when manufacturers published, like, all the stuff you needed. Oh, wow, there's even, like, oh, this even has service guide information. Apparently, you could get the cone lever assembly from Tandon. Cone lever being the top part that goes into the middle hole of the floppy drive. Like the whole lever assembly. That's pretty cool. All right. Hold on. Trying to find section 4 troubleshooting guide. All right, let's see here. Will not write. Nope. That's okay. That I need section 3. I think it's going to give me the oh, here we go. Okay. Printed circuit board operation. All right, let me see if I can find a all right, so the upper head is on P5. I think the upper head is head 1. Hi, Chris. We have RetroTech Chris here. Welcome. We are doing some floppy drive diagnostics. Yes, just a few weeks till VCF Midwest. Woohoo! All right. Let me see if I can find the pinout here. And we'll pull out the oscilloscope. All right. Controller to disk drive and disk drive to controller pins. All right. Select lines. I don't think we have a select problem. Drive motor enable. No, I think drive motor enable is working. Direction and step. I believe that's working. Write enable. I'm going to say for the moment, write enable is probably working. Write data. All right. When the disk drive is selected, the write data line provides the bit serial write data pulses that control the switching of the write current in the heads. All right. I'm trying to see if it will give me some. All right. Circuit description. Data comes in on pin 22 of the interface connector in pulse form. Subsequently, it is buffered by IC2E, then fed to a flip-flop IC5C. The two outputs of the flip-flop through drive IC2B alternately turn on Q1 and Q2, which alternates the write current to the selected head. Okay. Q3 is activated by the write gate through IC2B, IC3B, and IC3D. Q4 is designed to allow write current to flow only after the 5-volt line is high enough to forward bias CR14, 15, and 16, which protects the disk from extraneous data being written when power is initially applied to the disk drive. Okay, that doesn't help. Okay, that partially helps. Oh, hi, Socket Wrench. Welcome. Socket Wrench says, can't chat under a cat. Totally understand. All right, side select. Q7 sends current to the upper head, which is head 1. Q6 sends current to the lower head, head 0. Okay. So all right. So let me see if the schematic here, okay. Q7 or Q6. Okay, so I see where the coils are on the heads, on the connector, so we can measure resistances. And I'm trying to figure out which one's the read head and which one is the write head. And I'm also trying to see if this manual even mentions the resistance of the coils. All right, timing requirements. Okay. That's weird. Okay, I don't see in this manual where it's got the coil resistance. But I did see on the schematic. Oh, hold on. Let me check the. No, I don't know that they have the. This PDF hasn't been OCR'd. All right. Okay, let's see here. All right, so I'm going to check something here. So this is the connector for, I believe, the head that is misbehaving here. Wires look fine. Yeah, head 1 is P5. Yep, that is P5. So all right, so let me grab my multimeter. If I didn't have this motherboard in the way, I would move things a bit closer. All right, so head 1. So I believe pin 5 is a ground. Oh, me. That does not. Or is it pin 0? Oh, it's pin 0. Okay. I have no idea why they numbered. I don't know why J3, which is the connector on the floppy drive, is numbered 0 through 9. All right. All right, so 0 is a ground. All right. So 1 and pins 1 and 3 should be one of the heads. And I'm going to have to move the multimeter to where I can read it. And I don't know which of the two heads it is. And it's reading about 14 and point, that's about 14 and a half ohms. All right. On head 0, I think that's going to be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 7 appear to be the same head on the other, which is 2 ohms. All right. And then, let's see, no, 1 and, oh, wait a minute. 1 and 3, 14 and a half ohms. Oh, and the matching heads on the other connector are pin 6 and 8. I had the wrong one. Yes, actually closer to 16 ohms. Okay, now the other head on head 0 is reading as 15.7 ohms. Is that, wait, 6 and 8, oh, 5 and 7. Reading is 2 ohms. That's pretty low. And on the other should be 2 and 4. Oh, wow. Okay, the reason why I didn't read a number out is so. Hi, Rain Labs, welcome. All right, so I think we have a bad head. Okay, so this is on for head 0. That's one of the head, one of the coils on the head. So we got about 2 ohms. Now, if I measure the same head on the other drive, we have an ohm. But yeah, this is what that other head is doing. It seems to settle on an ohm, which I think is too low of a resistance. I think this drive might have a bad head on it. All right, so let's compare that with this other drive that I haven't done anything to except let the magic smoke escape out of the top PCB. But I haven't recapped it, I haven't cleaned it, haven't done anything to it. Let's measure that same. Could the coil have a short in it? Yes, it could, which would be bad for the. Well, it's also possible the connector might have some oxidation on it. Well, this one's measuring about the same thing. Interesting. I think both of these floppy drives might have a. I think this other floppy drive might also have a bad coil. I'm thinking I should go grab the floppy drive, the first one we recapped, which was my spare floppy drive, and I think we should probably measure its coil resistance. if it also measures the same thing, then I'm probably measuring something wrong. However, if it measures the same for both of those coils, then I think we might have two bad floppy drives. So let me go grab that floppy drive. It's sitting on my shelf. So this floppy drive, the one I just grabbed, we've recapped it and tested it, and we didn't have any trouble with it. It reads and writes floppy disks. All right. So it should be our. So okay. So I want pins 2 and. Also possible these pins might have oxidation on them. Okay, and then. Well, that wasn't like the most. Oh wait. 2 and 4. Oh, I had the wrong No. That's doing the same thing. Okay, maybe that's not it. Wait a minute. Let me check something here. So, oh, I think I might have been misreading the schematic here. All right, let's start again. I just realized there's trickiness. Okay, let's go back to the first drive. All right, so there's actually like a common pin for the head. So for head 1, it's pin 2. And then pin 1 and 3, I think should be about 8 ohms. Because there's like a center tap on one of the coils. So yeah, about 8 ohms and 8 ohms. Okay, more or less. Yeah, it's like 8. Okay, that looks right. And then pin 1 is... Oh no, that should be pin 4. Is that 1 ohm? just doesn't seem right. But all three drives are doing that 1 ohm there. All right, so on the other head 0, pin 7's the center tap. So we should have pin 6. There's the 8 ohm one and pin 8. That should be like the 8 ohm. Okay. 6 and 8, and then pin 5. More like, I'm not totally sure it's the head now that I'm looking at these measurements. Hi, Dave. Welcome. All right, we'll talk to you later, Chris. Yeah, and I'll send you a text if I'm going to make it to the meetup. I'm going to try, but I'm not sure. So, anyways, okay, so I'm not sure it's the head. I think maybe we should get the oscilloscope out and maybe try some of the test points. Or maybe even just look at the... Oh, that... Okay, I was going to say look at what the signals off the floppy drive look like, but that might actually be kind of difficult. All right, let me see if I got a convenient grounding spot on the floppy drive. So it looks like test point 1 and test point 2 are, I think, pre and op amp, or maybe post the first op amp. Oh, actually, there is there's a test pad that's a ground. Ah, very, very nice, Tandon. So there is a test point that is a ground. Probably because they knew if you were probing this with an oscilloscope that you would need a ground that was close enough to your probe. All right, so test points 1 and 2. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And test point 5. Of course, I don't know exactly what those test points. All right, we'll All right, so what we're going to do, how about let's power back up. And I'll check it trying to run the floppy test. And then we'll see what the test points look like. So I got test points 1 and 2 here. which I think are probably data coming off the heads. I don't have a disk in the drive, so I'm not expecting to see anything yet. All right. So there we go. I don't know if I can put the disk in. All right, disk is in. One of these days, I should write a batch file that gives me a shorter command to type at the C prompt itself to start check it, but okay. Oh, yippee, we've got read errors now. I don't see anything on these test points. Oh, and as I'm probing around, I get errors on head 0 too, so yeah, I'm wondering if that's not actually a ground like the datasheet says it is. Um, yeah, I'm going to suspect that wasn't a ground, and I'm going to use the metal bracket on the AST. I do not see anything on the oscilloscope. And we failed. Okay. All right. I'm looking to see if All right, so test point. So test point 5 should be read data. I'll have to restart this test. Let me see if I can find test point 5. I found 1, 2, 3, and 4. And there's 6. And 12. Ah, there it is, test point 5. And test point 5 should be the read data. Should be the data that's going out on the ribbon cable for read data. Alright. Let me restart the test, and then I'll see if I can at least get something off of it. It looks like... Oh. I don't know that you can see what's happening. We're getting read errors on head 1 now. And I'm not seeing anything on the oscilloscope. And write errors. I'm on channel 1. Let me make sure something hasn't happened to my probe. Well, see, I'm on... Oh, that's interesting. Oh, Hold on. Oh, well, that could be part of the problem. Thomas says, scope the head wire, the op amps do go bad. Well, so do oscilloscope probes. I I got suspicious when I saw absolutely nothing for either head. Oh, wait a minute. There we go. Okay. Nope. Okay, my probe's fine. Okay, so 2 volts. Well, Thomas, the problem was I tried scoping the head wires, and uh that was causing that was inducing errors. Of course, I don't know which pin I should be probing on. All right, there we go. There's an LM311 on that model. I'm going to presume the drive speed's fine because I don't know how to I don't know how to check that. Also, it's only head 1. It's not head 0. I don't know if there's an LM311 or not. Yes, I think there is an LM311. What's it? Um, I I don't have a utility to tell me the drive speed. I thought check it would do that, but I don't know what's at IC for because I'm having trouble reading the silk screen. Hold one moment while I try to. That there is no component marked. I don't see a single component marked SC4. There's a there's a 74LS02 that's marked 4B. And I can't the LM311 is marked 5B. Okay, the comparators can be grumpy. I don't see. I hope you realize I'm checking an identical drive that I can actually change the angle of easily because some of these chips are marked better than others. I only see one LM311. I do not see two. Yeah, bad tandem cheap on it, says Thomas. Yeah, let me look at the schematic. Not that I can really decipher the schematic. Alright, so alright, we're looking for 5B, I believe. Is that what I said the LM311 was? 5B. Okay, so 5B. So pins 2 and 3 of the LM311 are coming from a circuit which I can only describe as it must be an analog circuit. Because it's through a number of diodes. Okay, yeah, it's picking up signals from the heads. It must be an analog circuit. And there's a 733, which I don't know what that is, and there's a 592 before we get to the 311. And none of that circuit really makes sense to me. It's a bunch of, there's heads, and then there's a bunch of diodes and resistors and capacitors and coils and Thomas says 2 and 3 are in, 7 is out. In should show you everything from both heads being switched. Well, but there's a positive and negative in. I mean, I can try to for pin 2, I guess. All right. Okay, if I set the time base to like 10 microseconds, I see squiggle lines. It's switching between a flat line and squiggle lines. I mean, quite honestly, I honestly, if I had to give my best guess of what I'm looking at, I think one of the heads is bad. Thomas says, if you can see analog signal in one head and not in the other ugly analog stuff, maybe your problem like a diode. I mean, yeah, we could have a diode problem, I guess. I don't have um well, the problem is I don't know what kind of diodes these are, and it looks like they probably matter. The schematic just simply says they're a diode. All right, I guess don't write off the head yet. Well, I mean, I am feeling like I'm in over my head because the service manual I'm looking at does not give you important specifications like what the coil what the coil resistance should be. Interestingly enough, a few of these diodes are I can compare them to a working drive. Well, I tried comparing the coil resistances to a working drive, and that just befuddled me. Some of these diodes must be in parallel with something, because... Alright. Okay. I don't really want to swap PC boards. That sounds like... I mean, I guess for a floppy drive it should be fine, but... Well, I tried doing a web search on this drive, and, well, granted, I was looking for forum information on what causes the drive not ready error, and that was not helpful. I mean, I guess we could swap boards with a working drive. Are the pins on the head connector? Yeah. Um, yeah, the heads are plugged in. I even deoxided them. This is the quickest way to rule. All right. I guess my main concern with swapping parts is I don't really want to get I don't want to risk getting them mixed up if, say, the time to end the stream comes and I um, have things disassembled. because my markers like to walk away. Alright. No, I don't want to use green. Green is my sign for good, and this drive is not confirmed good yet. Alright, let me mark. Alright, let me put a little B on this one. B for this was the B drive. Not B that it's bad. Alright, so I put a mark on both the PCB and the side of the drive. Okay. Now my good drive. I'll put a green check mark on both sides. Alright, now hopefully I won't get them mixed up. Because I've got this drive here that is in working condition. It's actually the one I used to write the disks that I used to then install the software on this hard card. So I know this drive works. Okay, I see that. Sam's Tandon floppy drive facts, and I'm somewhat initially disappointed by the service checks page because it's saying replace the drive. Maybe I'll look and I will look and make sure I haven't judged the book by its page Roman numeral 3. Oh, it does have some service checks though. All right, I'm swapping PCBs. I'll have to look at the. I can't read books and swap PCBs at the same time. All right. 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8. All right. Power. Okay. 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 So I downloaded that book. I'll look at it when I get a chance. Oh, well, that's cool. It does have the part numbers. Okay. Does it have the diode part number? Oh, good. Okay, it says what the diodes are too. All right. Very good. All right. Oh, we got a RAM error for some reason. Weird. Or 6060. Oh, no, 601 is floppy. I forgot to plug the floppy drive data cable in. That would probably help. Okay, let's try that again. All right, so this is the questionable drive mechanism with the confirmed working drive controller. So I guess if this works, then we have a control PCB problem. And if it does not work, then, well, we have a problem with the mechanical bits. Either the stepo or the spindle motor or I guess the analog board on the back or the head assembly. Actually, I could no. Thomas says I've serviced boxes of these drives for a living for Radio Shack and IBM. Transistor get taken out by the tantalums sometimes. Everything can be fixed except for a dead coil in the head. Well, this drive here is not one that the tantalum popped on. That's the other drive. I haven't even recapped it yet. Because I was trying to make sure this drive worked before I went to the other one, and I am slowly regretting doing this one first because it is taking way too long. All right. Well, unfortunately, with the known working control board, we are getting errors on head 1. I guess because someone's going to ask, I will put the unknown recapped board on the known working mechanism. And I guess we can try it. And that'll tell us if the board's working. Yeah, I was trying not to jump to conclusions, but I was kind of feeling like because the thing is, Thomas, I was able to format a disk, and that worked. And then I ran the check it floppy drive test the first time, and the read test on head 1 actually worked. And then it started failing on the write test. But now it kind of looks like the read and write test on head 1 are both failing. And I bet if I tried formatting a floppy disk, I'm not going to be able to. I think I'm kind of wondering if um, I was really kind of wondering if the head was like failing in real time. Thing is, I don't know how this IBM PC was stored. I do know the top case is fairly rusty. So, for all I know, these were stored in a fairly damp environment. I don't know how to look at the bottom of the head and check for breaks. Is that really just as simple as it is? I mean, I tried measuring resistances, and that was not helpful at all because I don't know how you look at the head without unaligning everything. Okay, so the known good controller board on the questionable mechanism failed spectacularly. All right, so I'm going to swap now, and I have the control board we were trying to test on the known good mechanism. And my supposition is if this works, then the heads are very tough. You can check them with an ohm meter on the connector. You have to unalign. Oh, Thomas, I do not have the capability to align a floppy drive. That sounds like that would test my patience to the maximum. I'd replace the floppy drive with a GoTech probably at that point instead of trying to realign a floppy drive. Okay. Known good mechanism, unknown controller board. It did seek. Well, that's annoying. Oh yeah, I'll keep the. If I do scrap a drive, I'll keep the faceplate for sure. I think there might be something wrong with this control board too. Unless that floppy drive ruined this diskette. Might need to put my known working control board back and see if this drive starts working again. Of course, I did just have the thought of, could the floppy controller have failed? Alright, well, there's no sense. Alright, let me make sure the disk. I mean, the disk looks okay on side one. Yeah, that is a question. Arg, 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 arg. Alright, I have another disk. Um, of course, I had. Okay, let's try putting the known working control board on this floppy drive. Something's up. I mean, it is possible that both of those disks decided to stop working, but... Alright. Of course, there's also something that I did think of, and is there something wrong with this disk mechanism that it it's the source of causing these boards to fail. There's an interesting mark on one of the chips on this board. Okay. I think it's just a scuff. You know, the pins on that chip don't look very good. What chip is that? It's the 17 MC1733. No, all the other pins. Alright, let's put the other board on. That is something I may have to investigate further. Alright. I don't know what the MC1733 does, but I certainly know that the one on that board, for some reason, the pins look corroded. Despite the fact that the pins on the other chips look fine, at least to the naked eye, but I noticed something weird about one of the pins on that one chip, and looking at it under the microscope, all of the pins look bad. I mean, it is possible that maybe there's something wrong with that chip on that board. Alright. Oh, it's a video. Thomas says it's a video op amp wideband. So tell me how the video op amp? Why would there be a video op amp on a floppy drive? That was there like some floppy disk based video codec that I'm not aware of? Ba-dum boom. I guess maybe the bandwidth of a floppy disk is similar to a video signal. Alright, so this is the known good controller board. Known good mechanism, assuming we haven't damaged things by swapping parts. I.e., I'm hoping that there isn't something on that one board that's eating drive heads for breakfast. All right. We got the controller. All right, got the control board back on. Drive power. Back on. Spacer fall off. Let me swipe the spacer from another drive. Okay. Ribbon cable. All right, there we go. Oh, Thomas says it's wide high gain for flux signal. Remember, the stuff was designed in the mid 1970s. That's the part I always forget because of reasons. All right. Okay. All right. So we got the known good floppy drive. Back with its original control board. That is not good. Hmm. Well, tonight is, I guess, not my night. So we've gone from one working floppy drive to currently 0 working floppy drives. And of course, the one that we have left to recap. Tonight, as Stian says, tonight's an error-filled night. Yeah, I have... Well, Thomas says dead disk. I mean, maybe it is a dead disk. Well, I guess I can... Alright, I guess I got another disk I can try here. I'm running out of disks I can use to try that don't have something on them that I might need later. Alright. Okay, let me first do a head cleaning. Just to make sure I didn't get something on the heads that's contaminating the discs. Alright, I've got one more disc that I can use tonight. Otherwise, well, I've got some more discs upstairs, but if I go upstairs, the stream will be over before I go upstairs. If I go upstairs, I'm not really going to want to come back. I do not have a disk eraser. I do not have a bulk disk eraser. Alright, I'm going to use check it in a way it was not designed for, but... Alright. That at least spun the disk a couple times. Alright, let me let that dry, then we'll try the one last disk I have for tonight. Someday I'll get a bulk disk eraser, but that will not be happening tonight. Alright, let's try this. Okay. Thomas says, eBay regret bulk tape eraser. Well, this is promising. It's actually reading the disk. Oh. Okay, we're actually... Maybe the bad floppy drive just scrambled the... Maybe I just need to format those disks. Maybe the bad floppy drive just... Oh, you know, maybe that's why it was having trouble reading side 1. Is because the bad floppy drive was not writing anything, so there was nothing to read on side one. I don't think I need to bulk erase it. I think I just need to format the disk. Other drive may work too. Could it just be that we, could it just be that check it doesn't? Yeah, I bet for. Stan says, is it possible that faulty head 1 basically messed up the flux encoding on your test floppy? That is possible. I'm actually still not sure this drive's going to work because well, the problem is well, why would it okay, maybe I have yet to learn the finer points of floppy drives, but if the head was fine, why would it have written bad data to the drive? But all right, we will we will use this working floppy drive, this apparently working floppy drive. We will format the test disks. And then we will try this other floppy drive. And we will see if maybe okay, so that worked. So if I run the floppy test again, because I don't know what check it wrote to the drive. This is my test to make sure that you can actually run this test back to back on a working drive and it will. You don't have to like format the disks between tests. I am not exactly sure how I have managed to get practically nothing done this stream, although I was hoping we'd get the other floppy drive recapped, but I guess, well, we can have a part 5 next week. Alright. Yeah, check it needs a formatted disk to write, apparently. Jack says you got a lot of troubleshooting done. I guess I did. Alright, we'll see how quickly I can, Okay, so this disk, I'm just going to leave it as it is. I will format one of the other problematic disks, or that probably works fine. It just probably needs formatted. And then we'll put the other floppy drive back in, and we will see if we can run check it, and we'll see if we have problems writing with head 1. Thomas says you're learning lots about tandem drives. Yes. All right, I guess we'll try the other floppy drive. Well, it's getting late. Because we're probably going to have to swap control boards again, but we'll do that next week. So I have an 8 o'clock meeting. Okay, so you can reuse Alright, you could reuse a floppy disk that Checkit wrote, and there's not a problem with that. Probably what we'll have to do next week with the drives is probably, with a properly formatted disk, swap the control boards and see if the control board works. The other control board works. That was weird. It just formatted that as a single-sided disk. There we go. Apparently it saw that the one side was, like, borked and decided to not even try to format it. I think it's actually formatting both sides of the disk this time. There we go. formatted the disk properly that time. Alright, we'll format our one other disk here. Nope. These disks have never been in an Apple or a C64. And I know that's the case because I'm the one that unsealed the box. I think it thought it was a single-sided disk because of the shenanigans the other drive did to the disk. I may have found a bug in this version of format. Remember, when I tried to format the disk the first time, I didn't use /u, so it tried to read the data off the disk to do an unformat, and it gave me an error reading system information, skip doing unformat, and I told it yes, and then it treated the disk like it was single-sided, even though it told me it was formatting 360K. But if you go back and look, it did not tell me there were bad sectors on the disk. It just told me it was 180K. When I used /u, though, it formatted it as a 360K disk. I think I found a bug in this version of format. Alright. Alright, last test. So we're going to take this drive, so it still works. Yeah, I should have probably used /u to begin with, knowing that the disk was, that a drive had not properly written to the disk, but okay. Alright, so the questionable floppy drive is back. We will see what it says. I have a feeling, my guess is that it's going to fail to write to side 1 of the disk. And then I will simply have to make a note to myself somehow that I will need to format the disk again in a working drive. All right, so all right, so it's doing the read test. Thomas says, I'm going to have dreams about tandem drives again. That's why I got out of fixing them. Okay, so the read is going to... Okay, I figured it was going to work. All right, so it's going to be the write test. And there we go. Yep. All right. So sure enough, there's something wrong with head 1 on either the control board or the floppy drive mechanism itself. So all right, I just wrote myself a note. Thomas says it's likely a problem on the PCB. All right, well, what we'll do next time is we'll swap the PCBs again, but we will make sure I use a known formatted disk to do the testing to see if head 1 works or not. Because otherwise we'll have read errors if I use this disk. I have made a note to myself that I need to format this disk before we use it. So we'll swap PCBs again next time, use a different disk, one that's formatted properly, and we'll see if we still get a head 1 write error. If we do, it's probably the heads. If we don't, then it's probably the PCB, and I'll have to set it aside to work on later, and we'll get to the other floppy drive. Stian says, you could always use my approach. Buy more broken hardware to see if I can Lego a working combo together. Yeah. But yeah, we'll, if it's a PCB problem, I probably don't have parts. Thomas says, the PCB reads okay, but the write is scrambling. Well, yeah, but I don't know if it's the heads or the PCB that's doing it. It could be the heads, it could be the PCB. That's why we'll swap PCBs, try the test again, and go from there. Because I don't have ICs to replace the likely bad ICs on the floppy drive. So we'll have to go probably swap PCBs, and if the problem goes away, then I'll have to order parts. So we'll go to working on the other floppy drive. Remember, I just need to get 2 to work to put the 5150 back together. So if that is a combination of the one that's already working and the other drive that was in the 5150, then great. That gives us 2 working drives. We can put it back together. If both of the drives are bad from the 5150, then, well, I might... Well, I've got some XTs that I guess I could swipe. I could swipe a floppy drive from one of them. I don't really want to swipe a floppy drive from... Well... We'll see. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. But anyways, I am going to have to end the stream now because I do have an 8 o'clock meeting in the morning. I can join that meeting from home, but I do still have to be somewhat awake to participate at 8 o'clock. Thomas says 102 are common, just not the faceplate. I guess knowing that I've got an IBM faceplate, I could always buy a non-IBM one and swap faceplates. That would at least give me a cheaper source for maybe getting a working floppy drive. But anyways, yep. So anyways, all right. So we've got something bad on one of the floppy drives. We'll get to the bottom of it, or well, we'll at least try to narrow it down next Monday because I've gone down to one stream a week for the month of August. So Monday, we will continue with the floppy drive fun for part 5. I would like to put this 5150 back together. So don't forget to smash that like button if you like it when I try to get these drives working. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you know when I go live next. I will take a look at this guide that Thomas sent me. I'll try to remember to I'll look at the list of parts that the floppy drive uses, and if I do realize I have some of these already, then maybe we can do a bit more than I just set the floppy drive on the repair pile. But I would like to try to recap the other floppy drive, because part of me would like to know, do I potentially have 2 PCBs with issues that I need to repair both PCBs? So I kind of at some point would like to at least get an idea of what the other floppy drive's doing. So even if I do have parts, we may still do the swap PCBs, try to narrow down the problem, and then recap the other floppy drive so we can at least try to test it as well next week. So, yep. So I guess with that, we've got a plan. Didn't get to having 2 working floppy drives tonight. Luckily, though, we still have 1 working floppy drive. So, with that, okay, so with that, I hope you all have a great rest of your evening. Oh, I'm not even ready to click the end button. Yeah, take care and God bless. Computerized Start is brought to you by my awesome patrons on Patreon and by your tips and memberships on Ko-fi. These and other channel supporters make my live streams possible. You too can become a channel supporter with tiers starting at just $1. Don't forget to smash that like button. And if you've liked what you've seen, subscribe and turn on notifications so that you don't miss the next video or live stream. And as always, thank you for all your support. I hope to see you next time. And until then, take care.